We're getting worried about you. That's why, look at that. If we're here that long tonight, we need two of those things. We're in trouble.
You never know.
Thank you. All right, calling to order the October 30th, 2025 Long Lake City Council special meeting. It is 5:02 p.m. All council members are present this evening. So we will move on to, again, it's considered a special meeting tonight, so our agenda is slightly different than a typical meeting. We're not having open correspondence and some of the other items we have on a typical meeting. So with that, we'll move on to item number 2, which is to approve this evening's agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve this evening's agenda.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 3, regular business. So 3A is closed session pursuant to Minnesota Statute 13D.05, subdivision 3B, attorney-client privileged. Discussion of open litigation related to the fire services contract.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Minnesota Statute 13D05 subsection 3D. 3B. What is it? Boy.
All right.
Second.
All right, thank you. A motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, so just a few housekeeping things. We're going to go to the back of City Hall for a closed session. This is going to continue filming on YouTube Live, and so we will return after our after our closed session here, and then we'll resume the meeting at that time. All right.
swear.
Texting versus calling.
No
Yes.
swearing, no whatever.
Yeah.
You got it.
Hello, Lions.
No worries.
Yeah. Getting a new roof tomorrow today.
Oh, we are?
We are.
Oh,
The
wow.
falling apart green roof
Oh, I
is
never
going
know.
to be replaced. Oh, it is. It's going to be.
Really?
Yeah.
I never know.
Yeah, it has nailheads starting to come up through it, and we have actually a hole in a ridge bend, and we knew it was deteriorating, but we're getting a new, like, unexpected roof, like, short hole metal trim.
Hey, how long does that take you?
Well, the roof's going in tomorrow on Saturday.
Oh, 2 weeks.
Metal work, we'll find out.
Okay.
But we're very excited to, it was filming a little, just show the community that it's in good hands. I just really wanna
It is a shame.
show it a little love.
It is. I think that's very important to do. Well, I mean, you guys are always space.
We do.
With other city.
We think we may have finally fixed the audio, so that's good.
Broken.
Um,
No.
yeah, so. Anyway, heads up. I just wanted to let you know the audio is running because we had to leave this running while they're in closed session technically, but
I'll sit here and read my book. Luckily, these devices make it so you can work
they do.
wherever you.
They do, and I do.
Samesies.
I'm either reading
I
or
was
working.
talking to my dentist or my doctor one time, I can't remember. And I remember saying to them, like, did you notice that when people got smartphones, specifically, like not cell phones, but like smartphones, that they're less ornery when they have to wait? Because they can call people and let them know they're running late, so there's that stress is gone. Like, they have stuff to do, so it's not like you're sitting there wasting their time, right? Like, there's
Our
things.
ability to, improves our ability to occupy ourselves while we're waiting in line.
So I was like, have you noticed, like, over the years that that's improved? And you're like, it's a really good question. I've never paid attention to that. That's like the only thing I paid attention to. Yeah.
Well, I am gonna let them know that we do have someone from the public here, and, because she was the first one in. I'm all good.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Talk
I'll
to you
take
later.
you posted.
Okay. devices make it so you can work anywhere.
That
So no time is wasted.
That is nice, that is nice.
What did we do before we had those devices?
We were just having that conversation.
Reading newspapers.
Isn't that what a concept?
I mean, I probably did something more productive with reading the book first. Instead of posting photos of my pugs on the internet.
I support that.
Thank you. They're very cute.
They are very cute.
Thank you.
And we have broadcast that to the entire community for anybody who needs to know there are adorable pugs in this community.
They are adorable.
Who's Orno playing tomorrow night? Football.
Zimmerman,
Okay.
section final.
Ooh, it's gonna be a big game. Is it home or away?
Spot of
Oh, wow.
making decisions, and
It's gonna make trick or treating hard for those guys.
This was this morning.
she's starting to, she's doing early.
Oh, yeah, I was there, but I was down the penalty.
Oh, yeah, we were standing here.
Neat. Yeah, it was a really good job. It was impressive and
It's just like 3 or 4. Wisconsin's a big one.
craziness. It's
That's probably number 1. She's mentioned a number of others. East Coast. So,
right. Let's give it a minute here. Mike is on down there.
I confess the Jeopardy theme song would be great in this very moment.
All right. Council's back in the council chambers. We're on item 3A, closed session pursuant to Minnesota Statute 13D.05 subdivision 3B. I will entertain a motion to close the closed session.
I'll make a motion to close the closed session.
second that?
Thank you. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And City Attorney Thames, did you want to just briefly summarize that,
Sure.
please?
Thank you, Mayor. For public benefit, City Council just adjourned a closed session, closed pursuant to Minnesota Statute 13D.05 Subdivision 3B, attorney-client privilege, and discussed the open litigation related to the fire services contract. I believe the council is now prepared to take action.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, with that, we'll move on. And just to be clear, we've been meeting since 5 p.m. That closed, most of which was the closed session. And that is why I think the video of this event has been going during that time, during our closed sessions. So now we'll move on to item 3B, consider approval of Shoreline Fire Department Joint Powers Agreement. So the council has before us a joint powers agreement that we've been working on with our partners at the City of Orono for probably the last, 10 months roughly on this entire year. Councilmember Divick and I were the appointed representatives to that negotiating committee to meet with our peers in Orono. Mayor Tu and I and Councilmember Persian, and we spent a lot of time with them negotiating and working out this agreement for the next 20 years. And it creates a jointly operated fire department called the Shoreline Fire Department. that would be jointly operated by both cities and be represented by board members, a four-person board with 2 representatives from each city, or 2 council member representatives of each city, and would operate out of 2 fire stations, one of which will be called the, Station 1 will be called the Long Lake Station, and Station 2 will be called the Navarre Station, or the Orono Station. I forget which off the top of my head, but the point is it'll be reflective of our community, both cities, and it'll be set up for the future, really to create a great fire department for the next 20 years and hopefully well beyond that. And it's designed to to invite other member cities to join as well. We will hope to have Minnetonka Beach as a part of our fire arrangement in some shape or form. Right now, they're still under contract through 2028 to be served by the Long Lake Fire Department, but there'll be a kind of a transition to the Shoreline Fire Department from Minnetonka Beach as well. And again, we hope to make it a welcoming and opening fire department for other cities to join in the future. So I think this is a really good joint powers agreement. There's things in it for both cities. You're never happy and get exactly what you want in any agreement like this, but I think it's as good as it possibly can be for both cities, and really positive step forward in our community, particularly after what the community has been through for the last 6+ years in quite the sort of the battle over our fire department situation here. So looking very much forward to this. Councilmember Dybek, did you want to mention anything else on those lines?
No, just that I'm optimistic. I want to thank the Orono negotiators, Steve Persian and Bob Thunheim. It was a tough, at times a challenge, and at other times we laughed, had great relationship. And I said in our last meeting together that I hope this is just the first of many more opportunities to collaborate in the future, and I look forward to that. But no, I'm pleased where this landed, and I'm hopeful for the future of the fire department.
Oh, great. All right. And any other comments from those from any council members?
I don't know if people recognize how much time you four spent on this. It was a huge commitment, and we appreciate it, and the community appreciates it. And that was a lot of work, you guys.
Same. Thanks for all your work.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It was well worth it to get to this point for sure. So I don't mind it one bit after being able to have such a success after this many years and all that we've been through together. And it's been great to go through with all of you. I can't imagine a better council to go through this with, a better group of people that's very intelligent and fact-based and does research and homework and reads up on these things. So appreciate all of you as well getting us to this point, and all of our staff as well, and our fire chief for doing a really great job keeping the department afloat during these last 2-3 years that you've been with us, and keeping the firefighters happy and engaged in their duty of being firefighters. So thanks for that, chief, and to our staff. All right, so with that in mind,
Mayor, if I might, just for your benefit, the staff has prepared a couple of alternative resolutions that would cover items B through E. So it may merit just having some discussion over those items and then electing a resolution to approve, should that be the council's direction.
Okay. All right, so that would include item C then, which is the lease agreement for Station 1 and Station 2. And considering the authorization and execution of a lease for Station 1. That'll be the City of Long Lake will be a signer on the Station 1 lease agreement. However, the board of the Shoreline Fire Department will be the signer of the lease agreement for Station 2. And then it would we will maybe come back to D in a moment. We won't be voting on D at this time, but we'll follow up with a little more conversation on that later. Is that after we vote? Is that okay? Or
so Mayor, you have for items B through E, you have 2 alternative resolutions. They're labeled as A and B. The it's 2025-37A and 2025-37 option B. You would elect one of those two potentially. A is an indication to include only items B, C, and E, but not item D. The option B resolution would be an approval of items B, C, D, and E.
All right. So if we're not interested in the contract extension, then that would be option A.
Option A, correct.
Yep. Okay. All right.
All right, so I'll make a motion for resolution option, or number 2025-37, option A, which is a resolution approving the Shoreline Fire Department Joint Powers Agreement, approving the lease terms for 340 Willow Drive and 3770 Shoreline Drive properties, and authorizing execution of 340 Willow Drive lease, and authorizing the execution of a stipulation for dismissal of open litigation related to the fire services contract. Is that, did I?
That is
read-
correct.
Okay,
Thank you.
so that is the option excluding item D.
All
Can I
right.
make
I'll
just one comment with that? Because I know that we discussed it in the back with respect to the option B, to say that one of the reasons why we were concerned was in case it wasn't operational, what would happen, it would default back to Long Lake Fire responding to fires, and the concern about making sure that it's operational and having a stopgap. And I'm comfortable with approving option A personally, because I feel like the council believes that have a good working relationship with Orno, and that's something that if it did come, that the department was not operational before or at the time that the Long Lake Fire agreement ends, that the parties could work together to find a solution at that time. So I'm comfortable with, I just wanted to say that on the
No,
record.
yeah, that's good that you did that. And I don't know if we were going to talk about this more later, but the fact, with the government shutdown, we don't know, how that's going to impact things, getting the EIN number and all of that. So, yes, we discussed that in our closed session, and we just agreed that we would work with Orno under that situation to work together to figure that out. If Shoreline Fire Department wasn't ready to go on January 1.
Correct.
And to that point, Councilmember Dybvik, you had, and the council had discussed an option of also providing concurrent direction to staff related to that, so you can do that as a part of your motion if you so choose.
Okay, so, yes, so I'll include with that motion then direction to staff to make sure that we have insurance in the event that we need to have Long Lake Fire go beyond January 1st. Was there more to that than the insurance element?
And to cover payroll, to
Okay,
cover necessary payroll, to make sure that we have adequate staff.
yeah, in the event.
In the,
in the
only
event
in
that,
the event
right,
that,
that we're not ready January 1st, we want to have payroll and insurance so that Long Lake Fire can continue to cover into January if, or however long it's needed.
correct, to
Okay.
protect the residents and our firefighters.
Okay, well, if you can put those words into that motion, that's what I'd like to make.
Did that get a second?
I'll second that. Let me second that, yeah, and, so thank you for that, John. Yeah, and it's just, I don't think either city envisioned this would get down to the end of October to sign this agreement. I think we were aiming for July 1st, and now we're getting out of the wire. There's a lot of things to do, just sort of staff-wise and paperwork-wise, and in the next couple of months, so we're just always concerned about that, but I know our staff and Orno staff that our staff will be working with will be working very hard to make sure all that gets done, and here just a lot to do. Okay, so motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Great. Awesome. And I meant to open up for a public comment. If anybody wanted to speak on this, we didn't have an official open correspondence time, but if anybody in the audience is willing or interested in speaking for up to 5 minutes, you're welcome to do that.
Members of the council, Brian Miller, 295 Lakeview Avenue. Sorry I missed the start of the open meeting, but I was monitoring online and it didn't look like it started yet, so apologize for being late, but it sounds like things are going well. Just want to reflect back, if you don't mind, summer of 2022, when things really started to hit the fan. With the actions of the then Orono Council, and the actions that you guys took were absolutely incredible. From Councilmember Newcomer, November 17, 2022, announcing he is not from California, and all that you did, speaking up, various council meetings and situations, and Councilmember Feldman's analytics, John Dybeck and Charlie Minor's truth-seeking. You guys are sort of the autocorrect of Orono Council meetings. Well, maybe that's autocorrect's not a correct term, but you know what I mean. You guys correct the public record and kept it straight. And Councilmember Qualley, I think, was the first one to say breach of contract back in 2022, and recognize that. And John Thames for his legal eagle eyes on this subject. I know it was torture and torment for all of you. You all went above and beyond the call of duty. It was amazing to watch you guys go. But you held the line. You didn't react to craziness. And you stayed true. And you preserved democracy and did a great job. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. Appreciate that. Anybody else?
Hi, Kelly Grady, 271 Green Hill Lane. I am a fire wife of a Long Lake firefighter, and I'm a very proud fire wife, and I'm also a very proud citizen of Long Lake. I echo everything that Brian said. I got a lot of flack from people saying, like, you are constantly coming to these Orono meetings. You never talk to your own council members. And all of you know how much I actually did talk to you about this issue. And I am very excited to see it come to a happy resolve for all cities involved. And that doesn't mean I won't continue to call you. So now that I have your numbers. But thank you all so much for everything that you did. And I also just want to say publicly here, thank you to the voters of Orono for stepping up, learning about this issue, and taking the opportunity to vote in what I referred to as common sense fire candidates, to the entire Orono Council who voted unanimously to pass this JPA, and to Bob Thunheim and to Steve Persian, who took on so many extra hours to make this happen. I truly have always believed that we're stronger together. And I hear a lot of people, I hear two people that are making comments about Long Lake's getting subsidized fire service and these types of things. I know that that's not true. We know that that's not true. The contract shows that that's not true. And I just believe really, really strongly that we are so much stronger together. And I hope that this JPA is encouraging to other cities to join, to just strengthen that bond that we have as West Siders. And so just thank you all so much for all of your hard work on this. And yeah, I promise to only bother you about really important things.
And Chief Highland, the best chief ever.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Kelly. Yes, and thanks to both of you. Thanks to your couple of prime examples of citizens to step forward to try to make a difference in the situation a few years ago. And there's many residents over in Orono that did the same thing. Just imagine what a different position we're in today than we were a year ago at this time. And that was because a number of residents from both communities stepped forward to do what was right for both, for the community at large, and try to find a resolution to this. And that was thankfully made possible by the newly elected Orono City Council. So we appreciate very much the Orono voters for that, and our new peers over at the Orono City Council. Okay, so with that, we'll move on to item 3 F as in Frank, which is to appoint directors to the Shoreline Fire Department Board. So there are two voting member director positions for the city of Long Lake and one alternative voting director position, all of which must be elected officials. So time has come to identify those positions or name those who will be assigned to those positions. I've been doing a lot of work on the fire stuff myself over the last 5-6 years, being on the fire advisory board and being on the negotiating committee and all those sorts of things. And I have all the other duties as mayor that I've been doing that I do on a regular basis. So I personally wouldn't mind stepping back and letting others, take a crack at this if they're willing to do it. I foresee this as being very time consuming initially. I think the first meeting might actually be on Monday. Is that
It's on
been
Monday,
confirmed?
correct.
Okay. Do we know the time on Monday?
I believe it's at 8:30 in the morning.
Okay.
Verify that though, but I believe it's at 8:30.
The contract states that the meeting should occur within the first 10 days of the signing of the contracts. The first one's on Monday, and I foresee there's going to be a lot of meetings over the next, several weeks. And then, into hopefully later next year, that becomes more routine, and the group meets, the board of directors meets on a more regular basis. Because lots to get done here in the coming weeks. So, I know you've been doing this for a while, John, and been on the fire advisory board, and you have any interests on continuing to serve in that capacity, or?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that says it has to be the two people that happen to be negotiating, but I think for the transition, at least initially, it would make sense to have one of us on the fire board, and I'd be willing to do that. I think it would be an appointment that would happen annually, right? And so I wouldn't necessarily want to continue with it, but I think in the transition, it might make sense. But what I would recommend or support is, because I think there's going to be a lot of number crunching initially, I'd like to see maybe Mike and I do it, and then Todd as an alternate, but that's certainly all up for discussion. But that was my initial thoughts on it, just because Mike has proven to be a numbers guy, and I think there is going to be a lot of number crunching on budgets and things like that, to get this thing set up. So that's my thoughts, but I guess we can discuss other interest, I guess.
Yeah, I'm open to it. I mean, you guys know my work transition. I have a lot more flexibility right now. So, I mean, I can do it. I don't know what.
I like your suggestion.
Suggestion.
All right.
Okay, I mean, I don't want you to be offended because you're a fire guy.
I'm not offended one bit with
But see, what I see this as being, not telling the fire chief how to run his fire department, but to see how, we'll obviously make decisions, but largely budgetary, to support the fire department to be able to do their job. And so, because I don't know nearly as much about fire as you do, but I kind of see that as being this role, at least initially, as being,
I think you'll show up as being, since you were in the role of negotiating, with some of the people that might be on the board that you're familiar with and you negotiated with. So it's a continuation of that relationship.
Right, yeah, and just for information, I believe it is Bob Thunheim and Steve Persian that are the board members from Orono. So, they chose to continue that way, and we could have as well, but Charlie did way more work on this than I did, and he deserves to be able to focus on his other mayor duties for a while, so I get that entirely, so.
And this is going to be melding the Relief Association as well, and so I think that might be helpful since you have some background on the Relief Association.
And my understanding is the relief the board appoints to the relief, right? In similar roles, but there's going to be somebody from both cities. And yeah, I did do relief stuff before. I'm fairly comfortable with those meetings, but I think that comes after and from the board, if I understand this correctly.
I believe so. I think it's almost like an automatic that the two board members are also on the fire board. I'm inside the Relief Association board, as I recall. But You
Yeah,
remember, John, or?
the trustees on the board for the RA is gonna be the chief, and then 2 members appointed by the board, so in theory, 1 from each city.
Oh, that's right.
But
That's
that's
right.
also a bylaw change that, the wording of that is
Correct.
still coming, right?
Yes,
So I don't,
correct.
all right.
So then just one of you would need, if this goes this way, one of you would need to be on the Relief Association board.
That would
Yeah.
probably be.
Fine.
All right, any thoughts? We didn't talk about, you're not interested in taking?
I feel like we're well represented with the people who are moving forward with it, because they're both interested, correct?
Yeah,
Willing to serve and a little time in.
I would say more willing that,
Well, Willie,
like I said, I think during the transitional period, it makes sense. But I think next year at this time, I'll be happy to pass it to somebody else, maybe. I don't know, maybe I'll feel
That's a
different.
good setup there. Okay.
No, I think some continuity and understanding is helpful.
All right, well, so we need a motion on this, right? Is this individually or is part of a package for the?
Mayor, you can do it either way. If you want to discuss the ex officio director that you have to appoint here as well, you could do that and then make that part of the same
Okay.
consolidated motion if you'd like, or you can break them
Sure.
up, however you prefer.
All right, let's do that. Let's just do it all together, then I think could make sense. So, we've got the first 3, here for, so I'm, Councilmembers Divek and Feldman as board voting directors, Councilmember Newcomer as alternate board voting member, and then ex officio directors, which are typically more, can be staff and can be a non-elected official or city employee. So it'd be your interim city administrator, Amanda Nowicki. And then I would propose that Judd Axelson, who is a member of our planning commission, serve as the other position, the non-elected official or employee position. I understand staff has spoken with Judd and he is willing to step forward in this position. And
Yes, Judd and I have spoken, and he is willing to take the job.
excellent. I think Judd would be great, that very analytical person, and has represented our city well in the planning commission, and so I think that would be good. Okay. And then number 4, alternate ex officio director to be City Clerk Jeanette Moeller. So I will make a motion to approve these city officials on Shoreline Fire Department Board and Operating Committee, board voting directors, Councilmember John Divek, Councilmember Mike Feldman, alternate board voting director, Councilmember Todd Newcomer, ex officio directors would be interim city administrator Amanda Nowicki, and Judd Axelson in the other non-elected official or employee position. And then finally, alternate ex officio director, city clerk Jeanette Moeller. I got a
I'll
second
make
on that?
second.
Okay, thank you. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
And that's 8:30 Monday?
I'm going to verify that
Okay.
as soon as I get back to my calendar, because I'm
Let me know.
second guessing myself.
I
Yes.
thought it was 9, but.
It could be, like I said.
There's no backing out now, Mike.
I wrote a note, I have to verify it.
All right. Great. Well, we got through a lot tonight, team, with all of these motions, and should point out the joint powers agreement stipulates that the current fire chief of the Lundy Fire Department will be the interim chief of the Shoreline Fire Department for through up until December 31st, 2026. So we look forward to having you serve in that role, Chief Highland, and so giving some stability, continued stability to the fire department. And then as the year goes on next year, there'll be a search will begin at some point for a permanent fire chief for the Shoreline Fire Department. So look forward to having you be the first chief of the Shoreline Fire Department. All right. You'll do great.
Thanks for all you guys. It's been a pleasure working with
So new bosses right here, yeah? Yes, you've been saying that all along, Chief. We've got this, and you were right. You were right. All the times others may have doubted you, you're right. So appreciate your leadership through all of this. Okay, we'll adjourn in a second, and before we do, I just want to confirm our next meeting, because I know maybe it changed next week, and I don't even know if I have it on my calendar. So our first meeting in November is going to be, is it going to be on Monday?
Monday the 3rd.
Like 4 days, 5 days from now? Okay,
Correct.
so everybody remembers that Monday. And are we, any plans for a work session?
Be a work session.
Okay,
I believe I'm going to request a 5 o'clock work session if possible.
all right. So you guys will be busy that day.
Day.
Busy day.
Right, right. All right, so I just want to solidify that. Monday, we'll see we'll be back here on Monday after the weekend, and hope everybody has a happy Halloween. A big football game tomorrow night, right?
Section final
Oh, wow.
here at home. And then if they win that, then they're on to the state tournament.
Nice, nice, that's excellent. So good luck to Orono. And then I wanted to point out too, just how impressive it was to see the turnout this morning for the send-off to Weston Paskowitz as he went down to the, we're going to say XL Energy Center, but it's not that anymore. So look at Brian there in his T-shirt, but the arena that the Minnesota Wild plays in for Weston to be an honorary Minnesota Wild player for the day, and it was a great showing of citizens along Wayzata Boulevard here to send Weston off for the event, and many fire departments participated, many police departments, all of our local departments assisted, and my understanding was there was going to be a fire truck on every bridge along 394 and 94 all the way down to the arena.
Yep.
Is that
Minnetonka Fire, Wayzata Fire was on a bridge, and then Minneapolis was on bridges all the way down.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So that was very moving to see. Weston's been a great champion in fighting hard, and his family's been there by his side, and so is the fire department, and the rest of our community stands with Weston too. So appreciate everybody that made their way out to that event this morning. Yeah. Yep. All right. So with that, I will, if there's no objection, I'll adjourn the meeting by general consent. Hearing none, meeting is adjourned at 7:16 p.m.
JPA, have too many Caltech guys on one board.
Somewhat